G'day fellas and welcome to a casted game. We are once again in 2025 back with another banger. Ladies and gentlemen, we're on Dry Arabia, and you know exactly what time it is. It is time for the Beast meets the East. Ladies and gentlemen, it is time. Let's get into it. Spawning in the west of the map, in the color orange, playing as the Delhi Sultanate, the one-trick pony. The Beast Slayer is back again for another round against him. It's May. And on the east side of the map, in the color purple, playing as the Holy Roman Empire. Exclamation mark, exclamation mark, exclamation, question mark, exclamation mark. It's Beasty. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a casted game. A pleasure to have your company because we're once at it again, looking to see if May is going to be able to take out Beasty another time. And the reason why I ask this is because, well, first and foremost, they've been playing a fair bit of games. May has moved up on the ladder quite a bit now. Look, it's going to be a nice little limit test here as well for Beasty. He's on the Holy Roman Empire, arguably one of the best civs at the moment in the current patch. Pretty strong, good civ, good eco civ, all round just generally good. The big question in my mind is going to be with regard to relics. So it's about how many relics Beasty's going to be able to pick up, and more so about how many May is going to be able to deny from Beasty. So we'll have to play along and see exactly what the play is for him. Now, the other thing to note is we do have professional scouts in the meta. It's one of those things, you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. If the enemy goes for it, you better believe that you need to go for it. Otherwise, you will lose all of your deer. And there is nothing worse than your enemy saying, all your deer are belong to us. Because, well, ideally, you want to try and... You see what I did there? Ideally? I didn't even mean to do that. Ideally, you want to try and secure your hunt. Now, for the Holy Roman Empire, Archon Chapel is going to be put down... Ooh, I don't even know. Does he have a really good spot for it? I don't think he does. Okay. Arguably, this is probably the best spot for it on stone and wood, but then you kind of want to get TC as well. So maybe right here is decent. But even then, if you can hit gold, like the top of gold, you can see it looks like he's going to be moving towards it. Yeah, so he's going to hit gold and then hit... He gets about a decent amount of the wood line, but he's not right up against the wood line, though. That's another thing to note. So you have to build a lumber camp. So it does detract in the beginning of the game, but it is nice to have the gold coming through. I guess one thing to note, and I've kind of played around quite a bit with the Holy Roman Empire, so I have tested this myself, is that, well, let's just say, sometimes... There'll be games where you don't even go on the gold. After your age up, once you get to, you know, Castle Imperial and you've got all of the gold coming through from your relics, there are games where you don't even need gold anymore. So obviously people look to prioritize and focus this gold. It's very strong early on to have it, but it does definitely fall off the later that it goes. But let's check in on the other side of the map. Very far forward landmark here for May. Have a look at this. Now, fortunately, he's not getting tower rush today. There's no spearmen on the map, and we have seen that in this matchup before, where the Holy Roman Empire will opt to try and go for a little bit of aggression early. Not going to be happening today. Now, it is going to be a single scout opening from both players, so there's also the chance that Beasty doesn't even look to go into professional scouts. But I think what is more likely is both players are going to be opening up with a stable. Both players are going to be going into professional scouts, though we have seen May in the past not go for it, so we'll keep an eye out for that. But I would suspect both players fast castling, both taking professional scouts. We'll maybe see a couple of units out for both of them just to put the pressure on. But May, of course, likes to prioritize getting castle age after taking a couple of sacred sites. So we'll ride on board with Beasty now as that age up is about to come through for him. And there we go. It's in. Beasty is in the second age. 3 minutes and 55. Not a bad little timing, and you can see now the ring that is around this Archon Chapel. It's not too bad. Not too bad. He gets the majority. Obviously gets all of the gold. Lumber camp coming in. Bit of a weird spot for it. I guess, I don't even really know how you'd position it, but as long as he's kind of taking from these trees, he should be fine. Other side of the map, Dome of the Faith comes online. Now things are going to be mixed up. Let's have a look and see what May puts in queue. It is going to be professional scouts coming out first, and we do see it on the side of Beasty as well. So no real surprises there. Stable now for May on the side of Beasty. Expect to see the stable in 3, 2, 1. He does the force drop. Actually, I don't even know if that was a force drop or not, but it looks like it was. Have a look at that. It was definitely a force drop. I think he was sitting on about 125, and then he goes up to 151. Down with the 2 Vils on the stable, so he'll be looking to train some extra scouts out today. Now, the big question for me is more with regard to Beasty and if he's going to be able to deny the sacred sites from May. Now, one of the things that is kind of cool, right, I love doing this as the Chinese, is I'll take a barbican and put it on this central sacred site, and that's basically saying, hey, you're not going to capture this sacred site, and they'll accept that. And then you grab a scout, and you send it up towards the north, and you can kind of just block the sacred site from being captured for quite some time. So I'm just throwing it out there. There's a hey, Beasty, why don't you just train a whole bunch of scouts and just send one up here and one down here and one over here, and obviously you're capping you're taking your deer at the same time, but that denies the enemy from capping those sacred sites. But we now start to see him moving out. Wheelbarrow going to be on the way through as well, so quite a lot of eco upgrades on the other side of the map. Though it is going to be Ghazi Raiders coming out for May. We'll ride on board with him now as he looks to get multiple units on the map early on in this game. Now, Beasty could also, I wouldn't be surprised if we see a Rax dropped down from him just to try and help defend against the Ghazi Raiders. The Ghazi Raiders are difficult to deal with because they do have that high base damage compared to the Horsemen. So we'll have to wait and see whether Beasty opts for that. Meanwhile, oh, look at this. He's actually going to be chasing down the deer. So perhaps May could be getting on the aggressive here with the professional scouts. At the moment, his professional scouts about 1 minute and 50 on the way. So not long to go, a little less than 2 minutes. 2 vills on the goal back here. How many scholars are we talking? We got 4 scholars at the moment. Still working on that 5th one, even though we can't see the little bar for it. I feel like I should lodge a ticket with the devs on that one, but dare I say what I want to say? I'm not going to say it. Anyway, actually working down the rest of the deer down here as well. I wonder what the idea behind that is. I guess just makes it a bit more difficult for Beasty to pick this up, right? Like, he's got decent scout numbers already, and you can see he's going to come out and pick it. Doesn't really change anything, though, does it? Ghazi Raiders now going to be forced to move away, and there it is. The barracks coming out for Beasty, the spears coming through, veterancy, or rather, hardened spearmen. They are extra excited, and ooh. This is, I don't know about this, a second stable. Now, I'd hope that Beasty gets a bit more of an idea about what his enemy's up to. So even though he's going to be focused on picking up the carcasses, I'd still be really tempted to send a scout over to the enemy base and get a bit of an idea on what their plan is and whether they're going to be going into archers or not. Because one thing I know about May is very comfortable just playing Ghazi Raiders and then going straight castle, often into men-at-arms. And that can be difficult to deal with because you've got, you've got a significant disadvantage if you're in the feudal age against the castle age. But we do now see 2 of those sacred sites taken. One thing to note is these scouts have done a good job in bringing this back in. But as I mentioned earlier, I would have... A 3rd Rax? What's going on here, Beasty? Beasty's looking to switch things up here against the Delhi Sultanate. In the past, he's had difficulties with it. If you missed any of the lore between this previously, between these 2 players, May has lost to Beasty, and May has defeated Beasty. And this is anybody's game at this point, but perhaps Beasty is starting to think outside the box a little bit with regard to how he's going to deal with this Delhi problem, because that's really what it is. As the longer these games go, the more likely it is that May is victorious. That's just the reality of the Delhi Sultanate at the moment. They've got so many resources coming in from all these different angles, and you can see this poor scholar is copping damage from every single angle. Well, I was going to say animal, but I don't want to be rude to the German spears here. In the end, the scholar does go down. Spearman's going to try and work its way back towards it. Central sacred site's taken. All 3 sites are in possession. And I feel like that's a little bit of a ball drop here on Beasty's side. I don't know if he could have really got more units out. Like, he got them out pretty quickly. So I don't know what the play was there. And we do indeed see archers out in the middle now. So May's going to at least attempt to defend these sacred sites for the moment. Have a look at the gold, though, that's starting to build up here for May. So May, obviously, with the 3 sacred sites, already at 400 gold a minute now. So very, very comfortable. When it comes to the deer, it looks like the majority of the deer has been taken down here. I don't know how much of it was actually stolen away by May and how much of it was actually secured by Beasty, but we can see that he's got carcasses underneath the Archon. Up towards that top side, it looks like the majority's been taken here, and we do see 7 deer here, and we now start to see these scouts. So I would suspect May probably did steal away a deer or 2, just judging by his position a little bit earlier on. Meanwhile, sacred site in the south now going to be taken. Beasty also moving up towards the north. Quite a huge amount of scouts. Oh, he might be looking to pick up and deny the enemy's deer, and you can see that he's got the Ghazi Raider just doing a bit of a patrol here. Beasty obviously unaware for the moment. We'll ride on board with May, though, as he's got plenty of units out on the map. Once again, the Byzantine infantry's getting involved. He sees that scholar in the north, or rather that spear in the north. Scholar moving up. He's got a bit of a rally going on towards this. You can oh, he's angled towards the relics. You know the Castle Age is going to be coming through then, if that's what his angle is. Single spearman behind the back line. We can see Beasty going to pull it away. Very, very cheeky. And May going to be looking to try and pick up the relics. Now, interestingly, the spearman actually spots out this scholar on the way. House of Learning comes down immediately next to the town center as well, so there's no risk of this being denied by Beasty. So really smart play here. Keep in mind, we have seen players put that landmark out a little bit further, you know, maybe put it out over here and then it gets denied, you know, because a whole bunch of, say, spears or men-at-arms come through and oh my god, look at this. Beasty's actually going big. Though I think he may also be going about, or thinking about castle here. Now, I don't think there's a world where he really considers the Burgrave as an option, right? Like, I don't think... Is there a possibility that you go Burgrave and try and get a kill here? Surely not. Just mainly because of the archery range plus scholar combo, right? Like, this is a whole lot of crossbows real quickly. So, I mean, you could Burgrave with spears, potentially, but then, I mean, they could just make archers. I don't know if it's really the play. Let's check in with each of these relics as they start getting picked up. Relic in the north, number 1. Going to be taken by May. Spearman not going to allow himself to be converted, but he'll slowly escort that unit back. Meanwhile, towards the middle, Scholar also going to be looking to try and pick up this secondary relic. Slowly chasing away. We do see a scout does go down and a couple units towards that top side. Beasty says, you shall not pass. I suspect we've probably got prelates making their way out. No. Regnitz Cathedral is coming down for the beast. Only 7 vills on it at the moment. He's only got the 1 prelate, which I always find so curious, right? Oh, he's going to go for it. Is he going to stick it? He's going to try. He's not going to get there, though. The relic is just outside the base. Meanwhile, towards the top, we do see that scholar go down, but he moves the pieces closer to his safety point. West side, more men-at-arms. He was going to try, but Beasty knew exactly what he was up against. Meanwhile, Lancers are now going to start coming out here for May, together with crossbows. Already up to 4 crossbows. So many damn crossbows. And a lot of units here. Even if he can't take the relic, he can at least deny the enemy. And keep in mind, every scholar that he takes is 1 less scholar that goes towards the total scholar amount. So definitely reduces the tempo that your enemy's got. But that relic is going to get picked up again. Beasty, at the very least, going to be losing 3 or 4. Oh, no. That's a lot of relics, man. You can't be losing this many relics. Especially with the presence of units that he's had out on the map, right? Like, it's one of those things where I think he might have been a little bit... It wasn't that he was slow out of the gate. I don't think he was really anticipating that May was going to be up so quickly. The combination of Ghazi Raiders, Scouts, together with the archers in the middle definitely led me to believe that there was going to be a lot more units here. It wasn't until we actually clicked the Scholar that everything clicked together and we realized he was going Castle Age. And I think Beasty was a bit slow getting those men-at-arms out from the gate, but I think that's part of the reason, in my opinion, why the Delhi Sultanate is so good, especially when you exploit it in this way. Because they've got access to the Imam, or rather the Scholar, in the Second Age, it means that you can get them out on the map into position preemptively. So the moment that you age up, you can collect those relics. And by the same token, you can do that with the Holy Roman Empire. It's a little bit more difficult because it's prelates, and you have to sacrifice a villager to do that because it's 20 seconds for a prelate, 20 seconds for a villager. So it's very difficult to justify that, and obviously Beasty didn't justify doing that, but back towards the middle of the map, we do see a little bit of an engagement. The spear's going to take a favorable attack on the enemy, and for the moment, it's going to be Beasty that only secures a single relic with that Regnitz Cathedral against his opponent, who will secure 4. And I can't help but feel like it's just that it's so difficult to play around that tempo advantage. You know, what do you even do from the perspective of Beasty? Do you just give up professional scouts? You know, realistically, that could be an option for you. Maybe you don't play professional scouts because professional scouts is going to delay you. So, I mean, you kind of have to go racks to deal with the Ghazi Raiders that are going to come in. You could put an outpost up, but what do you do about the 2nd or the 3rd or the 4th Ghazi Raider that just get rushed out from the Scholar inside the stable? I don't know why that says mosque. There we go. Yeah, it's one of those weird little things where the Delhi Sultanate just feels like, you know, they feel like they've got the tempo advantage at every single breakpoint. And it's the exact same when you're playing as the Chinese against the Holy Roman Empire. It feels the exact same. We can see Beasty's actually in all 4K gold. I don't know where that gold bloody went. He doesn't have a lot of gold in the bank. Meanwhile, that last relic, Beasty definitely trying to fight for more units coming out across the map. Obviously, the conversion isn't going to get off, but in the end, the Knight will be able to take down that Scholar. Now more and more units coming out for May. 32 against 30 population, military-wise. Now, the big question for me is how quickly does Beasty go Imperial? Because we've seen players in this position before opt to avoid Imperial, instead doubling down on the Castle Age, realizing that they didn't have the gold income to go Imperial. Now, does Beasty take this opportunity to take a step back and say, hey, well, we've still got an out to win this game. If we get to Imperial Age and we get to 130 vils, I typically even go more as the Holy Roman Empire. You can go up to like 150, arguably. And then from there, you can take that tempo that you get from 150 vils and push that into units. So there's still, in my mind, there's still an out here for him. But just remember, the longer that this game goes, the worse it's going to get for him. And the fact that May is denied 4 relics, well, not necessarily denied, but secured 4 relics, is going to be difficult. What is going on here? Explain this for me. Okay. What's this all about? Is the idea that he just wants to kite and then you run through the gate and then the men-at-arms have to run around? Is that the idea? Like, why? What is this? Is he just... Are we witnessing the new meta develop right now? Or is this just an elaborate troll by May? Does May know that we're going to cast this game and so naturally he says, let's troll Drongo a little bit? Probably not. I don't know how much Drongo content May consumes, but I suspect it's probably not a whole lot. If I remember correctly, May's from China. So I suspect he's probably on Bilibili a little bit more than he is on YouTube. But, you know, let's talk a little bit about Bilibili and about what I've been putting... Sorry, that was a terrible segue. What's the drink of the day? It's Red Bull. I'm not even going to give you a chance to throw any statements out there about what it might potentially be. It's Red Bull. It's Red Bull. We got water as a backup. We're running a 2-drink setup today, also known as a multi-drink setup. We've got a multi-layered drink setup, an MLDS. That's what I like to run, an MLDS on the daily. Anyway, yeah, that's what we're working with. Anyway, give me a sec. I'm going to take a quick swig here as we watch the raid come through. It's not going to be successful. I tell you what, man. That's some good stuff. All right, well, at this stage of the game, Beasty doesn't have a whole lot of gold in the bank, and that's kind of to be expected, right, when you've only got 1 relic. So, he's secured a secondary. We do see double outposts coming in, and they've both got... Well, one of them's got a sprinkled emplacement. The other one's getting fortification. So that could be for a potential cannon outpost. And with this many vils on gold and the prelate, there's a part of me that thinks this could be the run towards Imperial Age. Especially when you see that the enemy is walling up. And that's naturally one of the things... Look at the resources in the bank. May is going fast Imperial here. And I love this, right? Like this... It kind of reminds me a little bit of the Ottoman Fast Imperial, where you just make as many units as you need to not die, and then still just go to Imperial Age. And then, you know, you compare that to civilizations like the Holy Roman Empire, where it's just rushing Imperial Age in a lot of matchups. But obviously this is a different one. Man, I gotta tell you, I'm impressed with the ability of May to manage to secure all of those relics, and it is now gonna be the Palace of the Sultan. Now, we've seen May play time and time again, and I'm sure at this point in the game, many of you will recognize exactly what the game plan here is for May. But I will tell you, while some of you may be bored by it, I'm forever intrigued, especially when we see matchups like this, where you've got one of the best players in the world up against one of the best one-trick ponies in the world. He only plays the Delhi Sultanate. Now, let's have a look at that income per minute, get a bit of an idea on where these guys are at, because they're both clicking up at the same time. So, Beastie's at about 2,200, and on the side of May, we're looking at about 2,500, somewhere in that region. So, that's probably going to be a Relic Sacred Site difference. And speaking of Sacred Site, May does hold all 3 Sacred Sites again. So, this is one of those reoccurring themes. Palace of the Sultan against the Palace of the Swabia. Not quite. It's just the Palace of Swabia. All right, so now Beastie's aged up. Watch how quickly this goes, because he is about to absolutely shit out villagers. I'm curious if he utilizes the main TC as well. Yes, he does. Okay, so he knows exactly what the play here is. So his out is to get to max vils as quickly as he can. Doesn't really care about military. And I wouldn't be surprised if we look to see him pick up things like those cannon emplacements. We can see he's got double sprinkled emplacement here. Triple sprinkled emplacement, actually, as the sacred sites do actually get neutralized. Manages to get the top one to about 50%, but there's going to be a little bit of a stall out here, and have a look at May. Look on the side of May at just how many techs are coming through. This is the Imperial Age tech. Now, I will shout out somebody in the YouTube comments who last Delhi game posted a breakdown of all of the tech costs in each age. So I apologize, I can't remember your name off the top of my head, but shout out, I did see your comment. And it works out that there is 17,000 resources worth of Imperial Age techs for the Delhi Sultanate that are about to come through, which is kind of wild. That's a lot of free resources here. Definitely not something you can put on the... I was going to say put on the calendar. I mean, you could put that on the calendar. I don't know how Siri would deal with it, but you could... we're talking about the top here. Anyway. All right, Vil count. Beastie's already 12 ahead. I think we saw him about 2 ahead about a minute ago. And yeah, it's going to follow that trend for a lot of this game. He is going to be massing up a whole bunch of villages here, and we start to see more and more walls coming down. Look at this. Beastie looking to break through right now. Vils will get found out, and this is going to draw back the forces of May from out on the map as well, which may potentially allow Beastie to decap those sacred sites. Picks off a couple more. He's taken out 2 so far. 1, 2 bodies. That's going to be a 3rd. 4th one about to go down, but the crossbows are back in time. We also see the Sultan's Elite Tower Elephant on the way here for May. Plenty of units out for him. Horsemen, veteran spearmen. No elite upgrades just yet, but we do see there is elite spears on the way now for Beastie. Elite Knights is coming through. It's about to arrive for May, so very quick timing here. Outpost is probably going to spot this little raiding force for May. Indeed it does, so he's well and truly aware, but that wall is complete. And it is not coming down, at least not on this top side of the map. We can see it's beautifully constructed around the base. Expect to see that transition over to Big Farmer coming in very, very soon. We can see that May at the moment, he's only got a handful of farms. What are we running? 8 farms at the moment. And that number is definitely going to increase. Madrasa is down. We actually have the double Madrasa in right now. A little bit of a raid. Sacred site. Oh, huge mistake by May. Massive pickup by Beastie. 2 elephants just go down for free. I mean, I say for free. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 spears. But in the end, I mean, 6 spears for 2 elephants. I'll take that trade. These guys work out to be, what, 80 resources each? So you're talking 480 against 2,000 resources there of the elephants? That's a pretty good trade. That's a pretty good trade. Elite spears now through as well. Beastie up to 93 villages. He has just so quickly eclipsed May, and May down here on 8 villages now. Rather, 8 villages lost. God, he's on 8 villages now. That's all you see. Hey, it's getting a bit late. Give me a bit here. It's 11 o'clock at night. All right. You know, sometimes you get a cast at 3 a.m., sometimes 11. Sometimes you get a good cast in. I'd say like the best time for my cast is probably around this time actually. So there's no excuses, Strongo. It should be top notch for you folks. Have a look at this. The outpost number just going absolutely crazy now for Beastie on this large gold vein. Not opting towards... Oh, look at the triple prelate, quadruple prelate down here. He's empowering up this one. And Beastie just continues putting on pressure towards this gold. You can see he knows it's behind the wall, so if he just keeps attacking it, it means that he's idling out all of these gold fills. And once again, the horsemen make their way through. He takes out only 1 more villager in the midst, and he might lose all of these horsemen, but now we start to see that farm transition come through. Meanwhile, for Beastie, gorgeous farmland of the Holy Roman Empire has been established well and truly. Swabia still printing. We're at 106. He's built up a nice little gap here. He is absolutely gapping him right now. This is quite a lot. 45 vil difference here. And this is what we were talking about. The win condition. I mean, Beastie recognizes what the win condition is. As I said, this number will continue to grow. And don't be surprised if he actually... I wouldn't say that he deletes units, but he'll probably throw them away. You normally don't want to be running this many units as the Holy Roman Empire into this. You just kind of want to be... yeah, I think utilizing your attrition as much as you can. So we'll look to see exactly how he plays it and whether he makes any mistakes along the way. A lot of spears out for him, and he's moving over to stone as well, so could be thinking about potentially getting some stone walls up. Of course, Beastie not afraid, definitely not the type of guy who is afraid of stone walling. We've watched a couple games in recent times, and I think many have requested a few more walls to be made, and I'm definitely part of that group. But May, of course, going to get the memo here as the walls come up. Horsemen make it behind the stone walls as they do get constructed. And now more and more units begin massing out the front of the base of Beastie. Plenty of tower elephants up to 193. This is really where Beastie wants to try and trade out these units. He's sitting at 120 vils at the moment. So hopefully, as I said, yeah, here we go. This is what we want. He wants to try and trade out decent resources in the bank. 4k gold in the bank. What is that all about? I guess he's been out here like a madman. What are you doing with all that gold, Beastie? It's one of those things where because he's got no relics, he feels like he has to overcompensate for not having them, and he's definitely doing that. 4.5k gold. That's, you blink and that's going to go to 7k. Watch this. Meanwhile, Spears at the front of the base, just as Beasty was close to reaching that max population, he's going to start trading them all out for the units. Up against the Holy Roman Empire Spears, keep in mind they are faster than the average bear. That extra movement speed is going to be absolutely all he needs to surround that, and we might have the Kryptonite to the Delhi Sultanate elephants right here, folks. The Spearmen are too fast for you. Now, I guess there's other civs that get bonuses to movement speed, right? Like the Chinese have access to the Yuan dynasty, which increases their movement speed. We also have the Temple of the Sun for the Juicy Legacy, which gives increased movement speed. So the Holy Roman Empire definitely aren't alone, but I mean, they do get this for all of their infantry, and they also get it from the very beginning of the game. So that makes, well, not from the very beginning, but what is it, the second age, I think it is? Anyway, it's quite early on. Cannon emplacements through here. It's definitely going to be able to hold on against these crossbows. Beasty moves the Vils back. Vil count still climbing, though. You can see how many Vils he's got in the queue. Still using the main town center as well. In this situation, using the main town center is definitely the right call. I think in other matchups, or where you've got more relics, you don't have to use the main TC. But because you're behind on the relic count, you're kind of on a timer here, right? Because you want to be going into the late game with as many relics as you can. And not having those relics is very hurtful. The longer the game goes, the worse it is going to get for the Holy Roman Empire. But we're right on board now with May. And see how he's doing over on the west side of the map. Big farm transition still coming through. He's got 29 built at the moment. Looks like about 10 farms that are unbuilt. Still got a Madrasa here that actually is not doing anything. These are free. This is free real estate. Come on, get to it. Is he just like, you know what? We're never going to build a melee unit, so we're not fussed. At least, you know, a melee infantry unit. Look how fast these crossbows move. 2.25 meters per second. Units per second. It's, they're pretty quick. More and more raids across the map, but the stone walls have come up. That's completely locking down that bottom side of the map. Still 3.6k gold on this gold vein. And Beasty numbers starting to look a bit better. He's at 200 out of 200, 140 Vils right now, which is definitely closer towards the cap. As I said, you can sometimes hit 150, even 160, but this is a decent number. This is good. The one thing to note though is even if you fight here and you lose military, he'll still be making Vils from this. So the most important thing now for Beasty is to capitalize on this economy. He's got double the economy of his enemy when it comes to the Vil count. Look at this, 73 versus 143. You're literally talking double. So he needs to capitalize on this advantage. And if we take a look at the resources or the income per minute, you're talking 3k, 3.7, 4.5, and I suspect there might have been some Vils moved around recently, and that's probably why you don't see that number as high as it could be. So he's got a lot of resources out on the map, and compare that over to May. May a little bit behind him here, about 4k for May as well. But this is the moment right now. So you'd expect to see Beasty drop down a whole bunch of production. We can see that's what he's doing. So Siege Workshop, a couple more axes, and this is where you want to put the foot down. You want to go absolutely crazy, put the pedal to the metal, and just try and push the enemy as much as you can, and try and take as many favorable trades as you can. But keep in mind that military count at the top of the screen is definitely in favor of the enemy. Now, Beasty's also moving into Culverin. We can see that they get a nice little bonus against elephants. They've got that faster fire rate as well. So they shred through that armor. And now on the defense, Beasty pushes forward with the Culverin. You can see this is the problem, right? You've got 150 Vils right now. Okay, but so you want to try and take these trades as much as you can. Exactly what he's doing here, and have those reinforcements constantly coming in. And you can see he doesn't have anything in the queue at the moment. A little bit of a mistake from Beasty. There should be units immediately running towards the front here. And there we go. Now he puts a whole bunch of units in queue. 9 spears, but he is going to lose the Culverin as a result. Those crossbow numbers are starting to build. He could think about mangoes here as well. Wouldn't be terrible. The keep going to go down instead. But even at 153 Vils, this is still fine. Don't worry, this is part of the plan. It's all part of the plan here, folks. Let the enemy think that... it's kind of scary, honestly. It's kind of scary that May's got such a big military. He's at 103 military pop, so he's got more than double. Now, I have seen some comments about how this counts, how the Sultan Elite Tower Elephant is counted more than once. So it says that he's got 12, but I see 4. Yeah, okay, so it is. It's incorrect. It's basically saying that he's got 12 of these when he's only got 4 of them. Okay, that's starting to make a bit more sense. So I guess that probably translates over to here as well, because each one of these is representative of like an extra 2 elephants, and that, so you can see it just came through there. I don't know whether the pop went up by that much, but I mean, we can try and count it out on the other sides, but we'll focus on it a little bit later. For the moment, our focus will instead be on the massive units towards the front of the base of Beasty. Keep on the front. I suspect we might even see a Relic brought up just to support this, and we can hear some shots being fired off. Sounded like a cannon emplacement. No, it's the Culverin that's firing off, and was that the Relic getting picked up? That was the Relic getting picked up, brought to the front here. Exactly the right call that he needs to go. You can see boiling oil coming through, and at this point, I'm starting to think it might be wise for Beasty to invest in some stone walls. So normally you want to go for the extremities first, so you could think about going up towards the top side. There's nowhere really for you to do that, though. Like, there's no real key points. Like this one here, this stone wall is great because it connects straight through to this wood line. So it's very advantageous. All right, well, Beasty now looking to add in more reinforcements. We can see he's kind of struggling a little bit with the wood here. Could move into men-at-arms as well. Still 5k gold. What is going on with that macro right now? He's had a lot of gold in the bag for quite some time. All the spears now going to come through. More production being added in. But the longer this game is going, the worse it's getting because May has now reached that max pop. You haven't really been able to hit him with the attrition that you were expecting. Now, those Culverin positioning themselves, looking to tee off. I don't know if Beasty really knows the unit comp to go here. I mean, he's just massing Spear Culverin, which definitely makes sense, but how do you deal with the crossbows, right? Like, you've got pikes, the upgrade, or pakes. The upgrade, I don't know how to pronounce that. I should ask GPT. Tell you what, man, I don't know about you guys, but I'm using ChatGPT every single day. It is so good, dude. It is crazy good. I'm using it to, like, help me out with my tax, man. It's crazy. Oh, jeez. Like, I've got an accountant, don't get me wrong, but it's just like, hey, can you explain how this works? And it's like, yeah, sure. Anyway, that's, pikes. Pikes? Pakes? I'm not gonna ask her right now. Meanwhile, towards the north, have a look at this. This is so cheeky. Absolutely cheeky as May slows down that progress towards the top side. Now, keep in mind, the Delhi Sultan not going to be using up a whole lot of gold. Yet, May's got 7k gold in the bank. Both of these players with a lot of gold. Culverin now going to look to try and focus this down. Cannon emplacement is still online, so that'll be doing a lot of AoE damage here. We'll wait and see whether we can spot it. There it comes in. And the Culverin doing a decent job on the defense. Honestly, really nice job. Now, it's at this point where you got to start wondering, okay, we weren't really able to do too much with the tempo. How do we go about playing this from here on in? Because May's held well at this pop number. He's up at 177 at the moment. You'd expect still to see spears coming out from Beasty. But look at this, 3 Culverin in queue. He realizes that Culverin are going to make the most sense up against all these elephants. But we don't see a whole lot of elephants. May is not making elephants. The only elephants that are on the field are the elephants that come from the Palace of the Sultan. That's it. There's nothing else in the way of elephants. But now, a couple of UFO bombards in the north of the map. They've got that technology. You can see them focusing down the town center. It's not going to come online. And because of that, you're not going to have the emergency repairs extended to the north, and you can see how quickly it's going to go down as a result. A little bit of a market throwdown. Ville's going to be repaired. Beasty saying, okay, what we're going to do here is drop the market, buy ourselves a whole bunch of stone to help us with the repair. Culverin going to come up, able to pick off the cannons before any real damage gets done. Keep on 1900, 1500 health. Still being focused down. The Culverin on the back do a decent job, but the keep is burning. Emergency repairs are not connected. Not going to be happening. And even though you got stone in the bank, you're not able to get that repair in. And May able to neutralize that keep towards the north. More spears getting caught on the wrong side of the wall. And there's not enough spears here to defend. He's going to try with horsemen. Ville's going to get pulled for a bit of a repair. He's able to take out one of the Culverin. Meanwhile, the Scholars have finally joined. Has he got all the upgrades? I don't think he's got all the upgrades. It hasn't. He's got all the upgrades. All the important ones, anyway. All right, well, with 28 Scholars on the field right now, you can do a lot of healing. Or you can sacrifice them for the greater good, but now Beasty still at 130. Is it 130 pot or 130 Vills now? I think that's fine. I'm curious if he's still making Vills. He is still making Vills. I think you could probably bring this number back down to like a 135, 140-ish number now. Cannons firing down on this elite tower elephant. It does go down in the end. Not able to get the heals off. You can see just how many heals are trying to come through here. Is he able to actually out-heal the damage of the Culverin? I feel like with this many Scholars, you should be able to. But ever since the change where they made it so that a Scholar that's healing a unit that's being healed does like 50% of the healing, it was never the same. It was never the same. All right, well, we'll check in and see how May is doing on the defense. He plays such a defensive game, doesn't he? It's crazy, you know? It feels like every game we watch of May, it's got the exact same MO, and it's crazy to me that it's never any different. There's never a second TC. There's never any real divergence from the main goal, which is just get Imperial Age, get all my upgrades, and just make a whole bunch of units, and then just kind of work my way through the enemy's forces. Culverin looking to try and fire down upon that bombard. He's up to 5 Culves now. Keep in mind, he's actually using the palisade walls of the enemy here as cover. And Beasty now with a lot of units in queue. Spears and horsemen together. Now, how much production has he got? I feel like this is not enough production. Has he got more production hiding away somewhere? He's got a couple towards the back. Upgrades are all through. I'd love to see more production out of Beasty. Like another 5 stables, another 5 racks. Probably even like even more than that. You just want to have all of that at the get-go, ready to go. Just popping units towards that front line. Culverin getting off some shots, but it really doesn't feel like it does a lot of damage. I mean, it's 35 damage, but against those lances, it's like the rounds are bouncing off, but there's no ricochet. All right, well, towards the top side, May looks to try and find another avenue through. Beasty holding on for dear life. Still, that relic count has not been challenged. 4 relics on the side of May, 1 on the side of Beasty, and now running down through the middle. Lancers do get through. They've got their eyes on the prize. It's not going to be Culverin. It's going to be villagers that he goes for instead. Beasty down to 120 vills. I think he'll be happy with that, honestly. He'll work his way back up to 130, 140. But I don't know where he goes from here with regard to play. Like, I don't know how you overcome the enemy in this situation, especially when you're donating Culverin like that. I guess you could build up like a massive siege. Maybe like I don't know, 7 or 8 Culverin and 3 or 4 mangoes. And then the rest of it spears. Maybe that could do it. But even then, Beasty's up to 5 Culverin right now. He's got 2 more in queue. He just lost 2 at the front. But he's definitely intent on making a lot of them. Now, where is he getting all this gold from? Is he trading yet? We don't actually see any trade, but the trade post is in a great spot this game. So it will mean he's got an opportunity to go for a big trade here, if he needs to. And the gold on this map is still around. If we look at the gold at the moment, yeah, Beasty on 259 gold. Not a whole lot. More walls coming up for him. Both of them looking to do a little bit of docking on this north side of the map. Culverin now going to work their way through this keep. It's going to be going down very quickly. And up towards the northern position, we can see May's still got an outpost or 2 up here. Not the actual building, but rather more just the, I don't even know how you'd explain it. It's 4 bombards all coming out now. Scholar numbers looking good. A lot of units here for Beastie. He's going to try. Culverin nowhere to be seen. All the Culves have been moved to the north, so it means he's not going to be able to focus down these elephants the way you'd typically like to. Scholar's going to be healing up. Horsemen make their way onto the backside, chasing away those bombards. There's 4 bombards for the moment. 5th one does show or rear its ugly head. Culverin looking to try and take out the enemy troops. And Beastie, where are those reinforcements? Are they on the way? It looks like they are on the way. He's got more and more units coming through. Actually, oh, never mind. There's a lot of production up here. We love it. We love it. We absolutely love it. It's beautiful. Fantastic. Exactly what we want to see. And you can see now all that production routing in. The moment those units are dropped, he's able to reinforce these Culverin. That's exactly how you want to do it. Beautifully positioned across this map right now. I'd love to see what kind of production numbers we're working with here. 18 racks is 10 stables. Perfect. Exactly what you need. You know, there's a reason why this guy is one of the best in the world when it comes to this kind of stuff. But now, looking to limit test once again against May and try and find a way through. Culverin are going to be the name of the game here as he fires down on the enemy elephants as they begin marching towards the front. Beastie going to have to fall back away from this. A huge army comes through from May. Beastie, keep in mind, he's running trash units up against largely upgraded units on the side of May. More and more units continue to come through. The elephants do get taken out slowly one by one. Now you got to ask the question, are the real threats here the elephants? Or are they barely the elephant that's in the room? Plenty of units on the front go down for Beastie. He's slowly reinforcing. 165 the side of May, 180. More and more elephants coming out, but still getting focused down by the Culves. Look exactly how he's doing. He focuses down the enemy siege and now works down the Culves. I think mangoes are going to be the trick here. I think we need a couple of mangoes. Just 1 or 2, just to try and thin this crossbow mass could really help out and kind of create a lot of value. If you give a target for the enemy to dive on, that gives more value to your spears, because now your spears have got units that they can attack a lot easily, and they're higher value units to attack as well. All those Ghazi Raiders. But look at the reinforcements for Beasty, looking very, very nice on that macro side as well, keeping those resources low. Spear's going to come through, manage to find a nice little protection on that front. And up towards the top side, Beasty looks to open up another front. Meanwhile, over towards the west, he's got one open over here if he wants to try and go for it. This is very typically Beasty. Vill's now going to race through to the outpost on this top side. Farms have gone down, so he could look to try and shut things down if a Springald emplacement comes in. Meanwhile, it looks like more horsemen will join the raid towards the north side, but Beasty calls it off. He says, hey, that's enough. Come on out now, guys. Spears back towards the front. Beasty at 91 Vills. Golly. Jesus. That goes down quickly, doesn't it? He's going to need to queue up a couple more Vills here. Maybe a couple dozen more Vills. You know how it is with the Swabia. Click, 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 click. All right, well, I think maybe moving into a few more Vills on farms. How many farms are we looking at right now for Beasty? He's at 47 farms, which is a decent amount, considering he's got that Archon Chapel. But now Spears are going to look to protect the Culverin. Once again, I really feel like just 1 or 2 mangoes here are going to make the difference in this army. 1 or 2 mangoes with adjustable crossbars. Have we got it through? We do have adjustable crossbars through. He could look to try and take the mango route right now. But look at this. Look at all of the spears. As they get in on that backside, the horsemen manage to chase down the elephants and now surround all these ranged units. Beasty finds a way. Where there's a will, there's a way. And hopefully not a May, because if there's a May, then there's a problem. But now, Culverin continues to kite back. Spears need to try and block for them here. They've got to be able to do it. Need to avoid staying in that range of the ranged units. Very good use of English. I like the lumber camp here on the front line. Is this really the state of our economy at this point? I mean, we got better stuff right here, Beast. Get on down here, brother. All right, well, numbers are looking decent here for Beasty. The main thing here is I want that Vil count to get back up. It needs to be higher. Ideally, we want to be sitting on that 130. And that's going to be the perfect number for us. 130 is perfect because it allows you to pretty much maintain a constant fight, but also a constant reinforcement. As long as you're reinforcing trash units and the enemy doesn't have a super duper critical mass, you should be okay with reinforcing at 130. All right, well, Culverin going to come through, try and snipe out the keep here. He's got a couple upgrades on the way, slow burning defenses. Ain't gonna happen. Ain't gonna happen today. As the elite elephant chases back the units. A couple Gulams here. There it is, the mango. We finally see it. We finally see it. You can see the mango has joined the fray. He's got 2 more in the queue. Exactly what he needs in this situation. And now, to me, this looks good. This looks good. Walls coming down for Beasty as well on that north side. Now, we do see him recognizing that trade may be an option here for May. No markets are down as of yet. Cannon emplacement actually came through on the outpost. Very cheeky, Beasty. Very cheeky. And this wall is definitely going to further deny any potential threat. And Beasty now with the markets. Exactly what we were hoping to see. A little bit more Vil, a little bit more economy. He's got, look at this, 4.4k gold. I don't know where all of it came from, but we'll take it. That's more than enough gold to transition over into a decent-sized trading economy, and he needs to get that up and running ASAP, because at the moment we're slowly working that gold away. Where's he even gathering gold from? I got no idea. Can we check right now? Where is this gold coming from? I mean, he's got a sacred site to the south. He's got a single relic with a regnets. Oh no, it is coming down. I think he's just run out. I don't think there's any gold left on this map. No, there's a little bit over here. May's just casually got 3k gold sitting here as he looks to throw down the 4 markets in the back of the base. But of course, we know the truth. Looks like the outpost does get taken down. Does May spot the walls? I don't know if May spotted these walls. Well, he's going to spot it now. Doesn't look like this plan is going to be happening today, unfortunately, for the Beastie. We'll check in with him on the south. Honestly, with the triple mango, I would be putting on pressure now. I feel like this 100% makes sense to start putting on pressure. Because with the mangoes, you're preventing all of these ranged units. And so from the side of May, where do you go from here, right? Like you've got calves on the enemy side, you've got mangoes, and a whole bunch of spears, and you can already see what the response is going to be from May. It's a whole bunch of men-at-arms. 31 men-at-arms. Fair few spears, and he's got mangoes himself out. Mangoes are going to try and find some shots. Men-at-arms out for Beastie as well. Keep in mind the men-at-arms for Beastie are quite decent. Beasty's going to need to really focus here to take out the mangonels, but not necessarily not expose himself to the threat of that army. That's going to be really key in this fight because those mangos do a lot of damage. They're indiscriminate with their damage. A lot of units in queue here. You'd ideally like to see a few more here for him. How's the trade coming up? We don't see actually any traders at the moment. He hasn't even queued any up yet. Meanwhile, over on the side of May, we don't see any in queue for him either. And now in the central sacred site, the army's posture. He's honestly done very well to recognize this. I love the comp that he's got here. I think this is probably the best comp that you could ask for in this situation. How would you possibly improve this? Maybe Lancers could improve this, or Knights could improve this. That's maybe about it. But even then, like, realistically, this is quite nice. And Keep now going to be coming up on this sacred site in the middle. This is quite nice. Cannon emplacement firing off. He's got that relic inside. That's why it's got that large range. You've got to be careful. We've seen this before, where the enemy manages to bait away a lot of your army, and then you lose the siege. You want to keep your eye on the prize as the Culverin slowly take out the enemy forces, and you can see the the way that he's looking to try and concave. Look at this. May is prepping the concave. He wants to come in from every single angle. The Keep comes online. It's got boiling oil ready for it to go. I'd love to see Beasty use the line formation here instead of using the standard formation. Did he literally just do it? No, he didn't. I was going to say, wow, because that is exactly what you want now. You got to be careful. Siege is exposed. Siege is exposed. Siege is exposed right here. Ville's going to get caught out towards that top side. Mango's looking like they might fire down. Attack move gets thrown in. Beasty moves back towards the Keep. He knows how important it is to pivot around this. Ville's getting taken out. I don't know why he's not just rallying down towards his south side. There is plenty of fish in the sea down here. Mango's, I don't know if they misfired or what happened there. But he looks to fire at the back. I don't know where these Ghazi Raiders came from. They've gone around the block. Their name's not Jenny, but I tell you what, she's still hanging around this spot. Culver, and they're just walking around. Meanwhile, the horsemen managed to make connections. The numbers of ranged units here is not significant, so losing the mangonels is not a big deal, but the Culverin, if they go down, it could be hugely problematic for him. You hear those reinforcements coming in, but the numbers aren't looking the best. Vills get pulled to repair right now, and I gotta tell you what, those Ghazi Raiders really just shook things up. I don't know how that happened, but Beasty manages to pull himself back up above that water. Says, we're not drowning here, not today, folks. Look at this 140 population. Where did it all go? Where did it all go? Oh my lord, he was underneath the Keep and he still lost it all. I got no idea. It was just like the master plan just fell apart. Beasty now starting to rally more and more units here to this location. Look at this siege workshop with battering rams in the queue. Is he out on the edges with this one? That's normally what we like to see him do. It doesn't look like it's going to be the case. It might just be the main that he's just sticking in main. All right, well, Culverin continue to fire off towards these elephant numbers. Meanwhile, a lot more siege going to be joining the fray here for May. Look at the amount of mango shots that come in on this front line. He gets some decent coverage here. And Beasty's numbers continue to fall. He's at 155. This is problematic. I think he might have wanted to just give up that Keep. It could have worked out a bit better for him in the long run. But now it might be that he's just given up the whole game because the Culverin are going to be next on the menu. Plenty of units here to take them out. First one goes down. It's not going to be pretty. It's not going to be pretty. He's going to try and bait the enemy back underneath the double Keep combo. Cannon emplacements all around as the battering rams work their way to the front. He's got plenty of them. He wants to try and open up all these different fronts and attract the enemy. Emergency repairs needs to come in. The triple bombards will take this Keep out if he's not paying attention. It's going to be quick. He needs to click the button. There it is. He clicks the button. He's all right. Or at least he's all right for the moment. This might just go down. I think it might just go down. I don't think he's got enough legs on him. The bombards actually change targets and give him a little bit of a lifeline. Men-at-arms now come through. No mangoes on the side of Beasty. Just a single Culverin to deal with the enemy threat. But May still 190 pop. Beasty 165. Meanwhile, towards the top side, Beasty's still got units up here. Battering rams working their way through. You can see May's trying to clean it up with just a handful of men-at-arms. Beasty now with a lot of men-at-arms on the defense. 1,400 gold in the bank, so he's definitely got room to move with it. Pretty much all the upgrades that you need in this game, obviously, with the exception of the ranged ones. Ain't no way you're going to see a Holy Roman Empire making a ranged unit. The only range we need is siege, baby. And now with this keep on the front line, there's the real risk that he loses his last relic, his final relic. And at this point, I mean, I'm kind of scratching my head here, and I suspect Beasty might be as well. What happened in that fight? How did it all go so wrong? Like, was it just the guy? I think it was a combination of like the Ghazi Raiders forcing the Mangos out of position, or not just forcing them out of position, but taking them out. But then we saw the Culverin were idle throughout the whole fight. So it meant the Mangos just got free reign. It meant that the elephants weren't being taken out. All that backline was not being, well, it wasn't being productive. I think that's the biggest issue, right? And when your backline's not being productive as the 5th and final relic gets stealed away by May. Jeez, May, just put salt in the wounds here. And you can, I mean, when you see somebody like May, he is a true Delhi practitioner. This is really impressive stuff. Beasty's actually going to discover the gold in the back of the base right now. May says, you can have it, Beasty. I don't need it. I don't need it, mate. I thought these were villas on the minimap. I was like, Beasty gets the message. He brings in the cavalry, quite literally now. He's got back to max. He's at 200, 140 vills though. It's important to note. So needs to try and look for those trades. I don't know what that sound was. It was a really loud sound just then in my headset. Like a dunk. I think it was me clicking on something, like a sacred site maybe. Matt goes together with the bombards on the back line. Couple elephants here to provide that DPS as the men-at-arms slowly work down that front line. They're going to be up against some big problems here. The elite men-at-arms on the side of May. You can see got 24 damage compared to Beasty. He's got 23, but he's got that extra bonus damage against heavy. But I think in the scheme of things, the difference probably isn't that big. The owned blades versus the two-handed weapon. Or the two-handed axe. And the, is it the maces? All I remember when I think of mace is Savage Mace from Heroes of New Earth. Speaking of which, I gotta check their Twitter. I think they posted, I think they've got a new game coming out. The guys that made Heroes of New Earth. I hope it's Heroes of New Earth too. And I hope they do free to play from the beginning of the game. Because I tell you what, Hon should have been there. Should have been Hon. Anyone who's played Hon knows what I'm talking about. Should have been Hon, not that League of Legends thing. Anyway, cap numbers on the defense looking a little bit sour here for Beasty. Beasty at 162 vills. I think he's gone a little bit too deep at this point in the game. You can see the reinforcements now. He's moving into hand cannoneers. He says maybe that's our option. Maybe that's the way that we get out of here. Defense not looking terrible for the moment. You can see he's still got action over on that west side. He's trying to work in these different angles. We'll ride on board with him now as he looks to try and keep that head above water, but the reinforcements from May are significant. He keeps rallying in more and more troops, up to 27 Ghazi Raiders at the moment. 192 pop versus 199, but Beasty completely drained of food. 168 vills. Oh, my lord. My hand is on my head right now, and I'm doing that thing where you go, whew. I don't think that's it, Chief. He's gonna have to pull all the traders. How many traders does he actually? He's got 40 traders. That's not even that bad. I think that's fine. You need to sack vills at this point. All right, well, once the Ghazi Raider's going to come in, I suspect he may indeed sacrifice vills. These are the ones that you want to avoid being sacrificed. These are your money makers here under the Ark. And meanwhile, looks to fire. Did you just see that? The Culverin fired off at the Mango, and May thought it was going for the keep, so he cancelled the keep. Nice little play right there, but is it going to be a triple Mango threat here? Spears being rallied towards the front. Mango probably going to go down. It's got that extra health, but in the end, it does go down. And more units just being... Look at the rally. It's just... It's huge from May right now. I don't know how Beast holds this, honestly. This is so tough. This is so damn tough. To be honest, I don't even know what you do to beat this. In this game... I don't know, you know, we're going to have to chat to ChatGPT about what options Beasty had, because I am out of ideas. I think maybe delaying the if you delay professional scouts until you're in Castle Age, maybe that could be a play for you. And then, like, you use horsemen and knights to deny the enemy. Like, that's the only thing I can come up with. And it might seem strange that we're talking about that this late in the game, but you got to remember that literally goes down to everything. At this point, 50 minutes into the game, if you've held the relics for 40 minutes, then you're talking about, like, what is that? Like, more than 6,000 gold each relic has as the Holy Roman Empire. So in this position, you could be at, like, an extra 18,000 gold, realistically. It's a huge difference. I wouldn't be surprised if we actually see Holy Roman Empire players stop going maybe they stopped going the professional scouts and they try and take the early hunt or something. I don't know. It feels so hopeless against the Delhi. I don't know if you guys feel the same way, but to me, it just feels like, I don't know. What do you do? And look, I want to give credit where credit is due. May's a great player, but at the same time, he just makes the strategy look so good. He makes it look easy, dude. I feel like I could get on the ladder and I could just go 100-0 with this strategy. Like, how do you lose? How do you lose? I just go Imperial and I make a lot of elephants. It seems so simple. Obviously, it's not. It's not that easy. It's not that simple, but geez, it makes you think, doesn't it? I wonder if in the next patch the Delhi Sultanate get nerfed. You would think that they would. After watching this, like, you would think they're probably going to nerf scholars, right? Like, there's no way they can keep this up. It's because it's all going to be the scholars, right? That's what it's coming down to. I think they're too cheap. With the Dome of the Faith, they're just too cheap. You get too many of them too quickly. Maybe it's the speed that they're trained as well. You could probably argue it's both of them. Oh my god. Oh my god, the haircut in this. Oh, the one lifeline for Beasty. His enemy with 5x the army, 4x the army. I don't know. It's a lot of X's. It's a lot of army. And it's a lot of army in Beasty's base right now. 55 minutes through this game. The front line is being taken out. Do we have cannon emplacements back here? I don't think we do. I think it's just all Springalds. I think he's got a couple more down here. A couple of Springalds. Look at the amount of production he's got. But unfortunately, in the end, it's not going to be enough. I don't see any way out of here for him. The reinforcements are way too thick. Keep in mind, at this point, May's still got enough resources in the bank for 60 Lancers. And he realizes that. He makes 15 Lancers. He said, that's a great idea, Drongo. I'll make some Lancers. And think about how powerful that is. And now Beasty being raided on this south side. With the trade being shut down, this many Ghazi Raiders, you're going to have to send a lot of spears to deal with this. And then the Ghazi Raiders are just going to run away. It's one of those things where you just don't want it to happen. And when it does happen, it can be really tough trying to come back from that. But now Beasty, a single military unit. It's a prelate. He had 2 mangonels in the siege workshop. And now, with nothing in queue and nothing in his base, he surrenders. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a tough game. It's a tough game. You can feel how much he tried to pull that one together. But geez Louise, it just felt like the Delhi Sultanate had him at every damn corner. Anyway, folks, we'll leave it there. We'll throw a link in for Beasty if you want to check him out. I'm sure you already know where to find him. And of course, we'll catch you in the next one.